It's an unlikely musical about a corrupt dictator and his world-famous wife, Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos of the Philippines. Elaine Quijano is on Broadway with the cast and creators of the new show, Here Lies Love.
Swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill the duties of President of the Philippines.
In 1965, when Filipinos elected Imelda Marcos' husband Ferdinand president, many embraced the young couple as a hopeful new start.
President and Mrs. Johnson give a warm welcome to the Philippine leader and his wife.
For years, the Marcoses' power was firmly rooted in American foreign policy.
Its democratic system of government is patterned largely after that of the United States.
A former U.S. colony staunchly supported as a democratic bulwark against communism in Asia. But nearly 2 decades later, amid violence against political opponents
and the famous shoes
and corruption, symbolized by an infamous shoe collection,
nearly 3,000 pairs of them.
I have no weakness for shoes.
Filipinos took to the streets. In 1986, the People Power Revolution ousted the Marcoses, forcing them into exile in the U.S.
Please don't let them look down on us. Please don't.
And that's the story being told in a new musical.
When I am called by God above.
A disco pop musical of all things, created by, of all people, singer-songwriter David Byrne.
Just say, here lies love, here lies love.
I read that Imelda Marcos, former First Lady of the Philippines, loved going to discos. She had a mirror ball installed in her New York townhouse, so I thought, maybe this is a story that can be told in that way.
It's taken Byrne more than 30 years, but he's finally brought it to Broadway, called Here Lies Love.
This is what she said she would like on her tombstone. She said repeatedly that everything she's done, she did for love.
He let it diamonds on the ring that he gave. I haven't seen him in 11 days.
In this production, Arielle Jacobs plays Imelda.
Here we are.
So this is the extent of your shoe wardrobe right here?
That's it. That's it. Just 3 pairs.
Spoiler alert, there are no shoe showstoppers here.
We can give our people a break. Come on, let's give our people a break. You say, give our people a break.
Rather, it's an attempt to understand what drove Imelda Marcos and what brought her down.
It's been a challenge. The dichotomy of a character that wants so much to heal the planet and share so much love with her country and put her country on the map and have good intentions in the beginning and then eventually get controlled by having too much power.
King and the Queen of Hearts could be a perfect 10.
Her co-star, Llana, didn't have to look far to research his role as Ferdinand Marcos. Llana was born in the Philippines during the 9-year period of violent military rule ordered by Marcos. His parents, who'd been activists in college, fled to America with their family.
What did they say when you told them that you were going to be playing Ferdinand Marcos?
It was not a comfortable conversation, to say the least. But you know, to tell the whole story, someone has to play him. And they wanted to make sure it was going to be telling the truth about what happened and why we left.
As his body goes by, half the country is here.
Lea Salonga plays the grieving mother of assassinated opposition leader Benigno Ninoy Aquino. She's also a producer. She draws on her own memories as a teenager in the Philippines, the day the People Power Revolution ignited.
And I was having a birthday party, and we were getting the phone calls from like the parents of some of the kids that were at the party. You have to go home. It's time for you to go home because tanks are rolling out.
Salonga won a Tony 32 years ago for her performance in Miss Saigon in this same theater.
And when you won that Tony, I went straight to my parents and said, look, Lea did it. I can go to New York now too. You know, it's like Lea's breaking down that door for all of us.
Here Lies Love breaks down more doors. This is the first time Salonga has played a Filipina on stage. In fact, it's the first all-Filipino company on Broadway.
I could not, in 1991, would not have predicted that at this theater.
What does that mean to you?
It means the world.
It's not just what audiences see on stage that's different, it's the actual stage itself.
You are now standing in Club Millennium.
David Byrne is the show's scenic designer.
Having done over 25 Broadway shows and seen hundreds more, there has literally never been anything like this on Broadway, ever.
Transforming the Broadway theater into a nightclub meant leaving seats upstairs, but ripping out premium orchestra seats, making room for audience members who choose to watch and dance from the floor.
You know that those miracles.
So we surround the audience and the audience surrounds us. Lots of action happens in and around the audience.
Not everyone is applauding. Critics have concerns that it sanitizes the history of the Marcos regime.
Some people think that in 2023, there should not be this kind of show devoted to a figure like Imelda Marcos.
Right.
What's your response to that?
Oh, goodness gracious. Our offering is, it's happened to us, but this is what happened in the end. Basically, it's a story about how a people regained the power for themselves.
Our show is a Trojan horse that way. You come, get part of the action, you dance, have a good time, but then you get hit with the reality of what we're really talking about. What happens when democracy crumbles and martial law is proclaimed and rights are taken away.
And it's not like I want to glorify her, but I want to start with, as much as possible, a clean slate. She has a history, she has a story, but I want you to start with a person and kind of try and understand what made her do the things that she did.
Yeah. There's a catharsis, and a lot of the older Filipinos that I see in the audience are crying because it's giving them a space to feel the things that their families didn't want to talk about.
The real-life story is still being written.
Si Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
Imelda Marcos is now 94 and back in the Philippines. Last year, her son, known as Bongbong, was elected president there.
Bongbong Sara!
And in May, as the U.S. seeks to counter China, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. was warmly welcomed to the White House.